As steel shapes steel, the spirit shapes the soul. HOI. Iron sharpens iron.
Plantation. 9 to 5 be the time I was wasting. Man, I feel like I need a vacation. Saving up for my resignation. Why I feel like my manager hating. Ain't the one for no verbal castration. This government ain't giving reparation. We'll go to crime trying to fight the temptation.
Rejoice in tribulations, demonstrate patience in every situation, picking up the pieces to their heart restoration. People broken hearted and in need of salvation. We in captivity, we done lost our history, disconnected from his laws, now there's no integrity. Here's the book and let them see, because they dying in these streets, walking in darkness, and where the carcass is, the eagles be. Walking in darkness and where the carcass around us like vultures, murder on their mind when they approach us. Let your light shine, watch them scatter like roaches. Babylon falling cause we taking back our culture. Heal our land, Abba now, put us back in agriculture. This word burning them up, Romans is a flamethrower. We prophesy destruction, nukes coming, game over. International, continental, ballistic missile. Them bombs dropping like rain, no drizzle. The lake of fire make them sizzle, showing fruits of the spirit. We don't gather figs of thistles. That's the dog, you know, so just like you were saying, right?
Hey, my name is Amani Bright Laws. I'm a travel business owner. My business is Always Shine Bright Travel, where we help you discover your next bright destination. I want to talk to you really quickly today about becoming a travel business owner. Listen, if your passion is traveling, if your passion is exploring the world, if your passion is wanting to travel and explore the world, then you should become a travel business owner, okay? I have 2 easy ways to get started. Less than 1 minute, okay? The first way, up here, our website, travelagentworkshop.com. And please use my sponsor ID, Always Shine Bright, okay? The second way is a text code. Text the word workshop to the number 281-767-9711. And again, reference my sponsor ID, Always Shine Bright, okay? Listen. The workshop is free. It's a free 3-day workshop, which gives you all the information on how to get started to become a travel business owner. Okay. Any questions that you have will get answered within that workshop. Okay. So let me meet you on the money making side of travel, where you can turn your passion into your paycheck.
Y'all know what time it is. It's your boy Chef D-Nail. Over here, guess who's cooking? Good cooking, good eating, good living. Y'all know how we do it every Sunday about this time, man. We're going to get straight to it. We got the chicken and dumplings, all right? We got the perch fish with the mac and cheese, with the yams, with the 5 cheese toast over here on the Texas side. And of course, we got the world famous turkey tips, all right? We also got, on this one, we got the greens with the turkey tails, and we got the spaghetti. You already know what time it is, man. Hit the link, 773-992-4737 is the phone number to place your order every Sunday, all right? And you can hit us up on the Cash App to make payments at Guess Who's Cooking, the number 2. All right. You can hit the www.guesswho'scooking on the World Wide Web. You can catch us on Facebook Marketplace under Guess Who's Cooking. And of course on TikTok, man, at Guess Who's Cooking. Come on down. Get your orders.
Give me shame, I give you peace from underneath. Give me mind and being light to reignite. Can you open up the doors to let me in? Can you open up the doors to let me in? You could put the hurt inside, don't tap my head. As I sing the love inside from out my mouth. Tell me what you need to find. Tell me now. Tell me what you need to find.
This the book of Job, chapter 11 and 14. If iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. I caught a demon in my house and cast it out on sight. That's why they hate on Chaasadyah, cause we shine that bright. The mother nations in the dark and we the children of light. Yeah, we the salt of the earth and yeah, we breaking the curse. And we rehearse the righteous acts cause we ain't trying to get murdered. And yeah, this truth is gonna heal you, but at first it gon' hurt. That's why you see us in the field putting in laborers work. Feet in the block with that manna that came from heaven with mercy. We lit like frankincense. Yeah, we them ancient men. We lit like 7 candlesticks. Confess my faults, no secret sin. They on the outside looking in, peeping in, peeking in. They thinking about sneaking in, but we perceive thoughts. And obey what we've been taught. Okay, my riches stored in heaven. I don't lock it in a vault. Standing on my father's business. Yeah, I walk it how I talk. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world, I done fought and knocked them out. With my sword, about to cut their heads off. They put up Planned Parenthood, but couldn't cut the eggs off. So we scramble up their brains while they drunk off eggnog. Babylon was Big Wolf, now it's just a dead dog. America, the mother of harlots. The saints gon' take the kingdom, that's gon' happen regardless. Yeah, how was Shy coming, garment like red carpet. Brought this truth to their ear, but they still didn't hearken. I caught a demon in my house and cast it out on sight. That's why they hate on Chaasadyah, cause we shine that bright. The mother nations in the dark and we the children of light. Yeah, we the salt of the earth and yeah, we breaking the curse. And we rehearse the righteous acts cause we ain't trying to get murdered. And yeah, this truth is gonna heal you, but at first it gon' hurt. That's why you see us in the field putting in laborers work. Feet in the block with that manna that came from heaven with mercy.
No benefits, striving for the paradise. Can't turn my father's house into a house of merchandise. Can't be a leader, your heart not circumcised. Wanna be on demon town till I cast them out. When I exercise, the Bible get weaponized. It's my sword, it'll leave a heathen paralyzed. Holy Spirit get energized, prophecy visualized. Witchcraft get minimized through the vaccine they synthesize. Wanna see my people victimized. Tell the Allah how you come through and terrorize. Yasha Allah rise. My soul on fire, I see it in my eyes. Babylon, straight out the rotten apple. Grab Esau by his heel and his Adam's apple. Cast every single demon out the tabernacle. Yeah, how we shall return, leave them all trampled. I caught a demon in my house and cast it out on sight. That's why they hate on Chaasadyah, cause we shine that bright. The mother nations in the dark and we the children of light. Yeah, we the salt of the earth and yeah, we breaking the curse. And we rehearse the righteous acts cause we ain't trying to get murdered. And yeah, this truth is gonna heal you, but at first it gon' hurt. That's why you see us in the field putting in laborers work. Feet in the block with that manna that came from heaven with mercy.
This the book of Job, chapter 11 and 14. If iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. I caught a demon in my house and cast it out on sight. That's why they hate on Chaasadyah, cause we shine that bright. The mother nations in the dark and we the children of light. Yeah, we the salt of the earth.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kwam Yasha'Allah. Rise Israel. The honors for our elders, still waking up the lost sheep of Israel in these last days. Obvious last days, right? Okay, so for tonight, I will be your host, Chaasadyah. In this, we're going to tie in biblical prophecy to current events. And my swordsman for tonight is
Yazayan. Shalom.
All right, so got the incense lit. That ain't the only thing that's lit. You know what I'm saying? These prophecies are lit. These current events are lit. The Middle East is lit right now. We gonna go through it. It's a lot to cover. God, from one week to the next, you never know what's gonna happen. Repentance is very necessary. All right. So of course we're gonna start off with the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. You can find this in Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 13. All right. So here's the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Chemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Thaba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Aya, Bashemayim, Natananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yuwam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafianawa, Wala'a, Thabianawa, 191, Abul, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wata Palaraf, Laiwalamyam, Aman. God, giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. All right. So, let's get started because this thing's crazy. First and foremost, we gotta say Fair Use Act. Fair Use Act videos protected by these videos are protected by the Fair Use Act. You know what I'm saying? This is a class, so fair use. All right. It's like the incense and keep it going in the right direction. No shalom. No shalom. This is not the time period we living in. There's no peace. All right, ain't no peace popping off right now. This is wartime of I don't know how many different countries right now. The Middle East is at war. Put it like that. You gotta pick who's not at war. Yemen just said they about to jump in. They said, you hit my man's right here, I'm jumping in. And I'm gonna throw some shots at your oil fields. That's what Yemen said to all the Gulf countries about Iran. You mess with my homie, I'm jumping in that joint. You can talk all you want. You throw some shots, I'm throwing shots back. At all y'all. Not just one, all y'all gonna catch it. That's where we at, man. From one week to the next, we was talking about all the things that was going on as far as Jake. He found Jake in the woods in Georgia, lynched him. They shot Jake in Grand Rapids, shot him in the back of the head, chopped up the sister over there in California. It's like Most High, we need you. And won't he do it? Came through in a Cobra clutch. All right, let's go to Jeremiah 46, verse 9. We'll start there.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46 and verse 9. Come up, ye horses, and rage, ye chariots, and let the mighty men come forth, the Ethiopians and the Libyans that handle the shield, and the Libyans that handle and bend the bow.
So right now, Africa, the Sudanese, I believe, and a lot of people from Libya, of course, flowed out of there with weaponry when America, pistol whipped Gaddafi and killed him, and just opened up floodgates and destabilized that whole country. Country was, filled with gold and about to have their own currency and free education, free everything. But course, America's like, nah, since they're the great Satan, they stabilized that country, so a lot of people left with a lot of weapons. But they said if there's ground troops in America, I mean not in America, in Iran, if America sends ground troops on the ground, boots on the ground or whatever, we jumping in there, you know. So it's going down, and the Lydians, right, were conquered by the Persians, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? So a little history. Go ahead, read verse 10.
For this is the day of the Lord, Yahweh of hosts, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries, and the sword shall devour, and it shall be satiate and made drunk with their blood. For the Lord God of hosts hath a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates.
Khan, you know, River Euphrates goes through Iraq, and then at the south dumps into the Persian Gulf. Okay, go ahead, can read the next verse.
Go up into Gilead and take balm, O virgin, the daughter of Egypt. In vain shalt thou use many medicines, for thou shalt not be cured.
Khan, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the daughter, the virgin daughter of Egypt. Okay, can you read verse 12?
The nations have heard thy shame, and thy cry hath filled the land. For the mighty man have stumbled against the mighty, and they are fallen both together.
So right now you have America and Israel went on a bombing campaign in Iran. In Iran, you know what I'm saying? If you get in a fight, somebody swing on you first, you know, you take a couple of them blows, and now it's on. You know what I'm saying? You ain't knocking me out, so it's a wrap. So we're going to see what is occurring over there. You can go to Fox News and go to CNN. They'll give you a little bit of what's happening. We're going to go to the people that are on the ground, the generals, interview with the people that have seen it, that are seeing it. You know what I mean? And don't really have that propaganda spin to give to the world. You know what I'm saying? The thing about Iran, the reason why they haven't bombed Iran for all these years, you know, John McCain was talking about it, bomb Iran, is because they know Iran is vicious. You know what I'm saying? They humble Muslims. I give them that. They humble. They sit. They like, look, we don't want any trouble. You know what I'm saying? But there's a reason why people over there in the Middle East don't mess with Iran. Donald Trump is such a, like, you know, we know he's racist, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, there's no way any of these brown people can do anything to me. We're gonna go in there, kill the Ayatollah, which they did, and they're gonna bow down to me. That's what he thought, and it's not happening the way he thought it would happen. So we're gonna get what's going on, leave the propaganda out of it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. We're gonna leave the propaganda out of it. We're gonna stick to facts and biblical prophecy. You know what I mean? I'll throw my opinion in there every now and then, but we're gonna stick to just the facts. Just the facts.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1. Start from the top. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
So there's a time for every season, you know what I'm saying? And every purpose. Okay. You go to jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace.
Okay. There's a time to love and there's a time to hate. There's a time of peace, time of war. Are we in the time of peace? Are we in the time, right? Are we in the time where Qatar and Iran are loving each other? You know what I'm saying? What time are we living in? Are we in the time where Afghanistan and Pakistan are loving each other? They're at war right now. You know what I mean? It is going down in the world. Still same thing with Ukraine and Russia. But don't forget, China is closely monitoring everything. And they might just jump over in Taiwan. What is America gonna do? They get boots on the ground. They have to occupy themselves and with the satellites and the logistics and everything over there in the Middle East. Taiwan's as good as theirs. So the time period we living in, no shaloms, no peace whatsoever. Okay, let's go to Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And it's like it. And this is it's a beautiful time because please don't forget what they were doing to us a week ago, 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? What they're doing to 10 tribes, harassing brothers, ICE harassing brothers, 10 tribes, throwing them in internment camps. You know, people have been dying in those camps. You know, taking them to with supermax prisons, taking them out the country. You know what I'm saying? So this is the Most High is giving vengeance towards our adversaries, and this is something that should excite you. It excites me. All right, go ahead, King. You bring it out.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
Using us for currency. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre, O Tyre, and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
So right now as well, over there in Tyre and Zidon, Tyre is in modern day Lebanon, right? And they are at war actually with northern Israel. You know what I'm saying? Well, Israel, in the north of Israel, they start throwing some shots as well. And the Israelis say, okay, we're going to invade again. So right now they're at war. So this is a beautiful thing that the Lord is doing. Let's get First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 10. You know, who hasn't been involved in our captivity? So who's going to get it? Man, everybody got it, man. Most High ain't got no picks right now. Over there in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's catching it. Everybody. Iran just started throwing ballistic missiles and drones. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Dubai, Kuwait, you name it. Cyprus, just all over the place. Every place. Oh, and of course Tel Aviv, destroying these places. Okay, go ahead, King. You bring it out.
This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10. What nation have not have a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
So who's innocent? Who's innocent? None of them. None of them. Okay, and Iran is getting demolished as well. They catching hell too. You know what I'm saying? Because when you spend trillions of dollars on planes and boats and everything like that, and military hardware, you're going to have some things for, to blow up, and that's what they're doing. They're blowing up a lot of stuff over there in Tehran and Iran as a whole. But Iran has such a network of underground tunnels and bunkers, and you know what I'm saying. That's why they're saying we gotta put boots on the ground. We gotta put boots on the ground because, you know, at one point in time it looks like everything's clear, and then the next time they got 700 missiles flying all over the Middle East, and then they go right back in the bunkers, and they're like, yo, where they go? You know what I'm saying? So they want to go in there and put boots on the ground. But guess what? Who them boots on the ground gonna be? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be. They said the Kurds. They said the CIA is getting the Kurds together. You know, the CIA building over there in Saudi Arabia got bombed. They said like six CIA agents got murked. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget they was putting drugs in your neighborhood. Still are. You know what I mean? Like the sister said, ICE is still terrorizing our people. It hasn't really changed. Do you know what I'm saying? But one good thing is that the Most High is fighting for us. You know what I mean? They're mighty men. You know, we were talking about last week, the Most High going to take out these police officers. Well, he's taking out the military. You know what I'm saying? So you ask the Most High for an apple, he going to give you an orchard. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, they're still doing what they're doing, but they getting bombed. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a beautiful thing to see, y'all. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 34, and we'll start at the top. The Lord don't play about his folks. You know what I mean?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, starting from the top. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth.
Look, everybody pay attention, man. You know, Dubai. Remember Dubai? They called our sisters to go over there to steal their passport. You know what I mean? Call them porter potties or whatever. Like they do some nasty stuff over there in Dubai. You know what I'm saying? It's a real slave country. I mean, United Arab Emirates, Dubai and United Arab Emirates is a slave sport. You know, to this day, and all those other Gulf countries, right? Because the United States props them up. The United States says, "Yo, let me have a military base in there. I'll leave you alone." Matter of fact, nobody's gonna bother you. You can always be king. You can always rule. You know what I'm saying? And they allow them to get full access and have the military bases there and everything like that. But what's happening now? They can't defend that. Who wants to go to Dubai now? They got drones all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Those $20,000 Iranian drones are blowing up billion-dollar hotels. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to? You're rich, you got a bunch of money. I'm gonna go to Dubai, hang out with all the rich people. They're not going to Dubai no more. Dubai's falling apart just like that, off a little, you know, a couple dollars spent on the drone. So it's all of them. The Lord's bringing them all down. Can you read next verse?
For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Time. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. It is what it is at this point, okay? Now, let's go to Isaiah 55, verse 6, okay? We see what's going on. We see that the Most High is in full control of the situation. You know what I'm saying? You can't have this much war. The Lord is a man of war. You can't have this much war and God isn't involved, okay? How about Shemel Shai is deeply involved in what's happening in the Middle East, putting Trump, you know, getting, you know, harden his heart. You know what I'm saying? That we can win this in 2 days, 4 days. Iran's like, you know, welcome. You know, you stepped on Gilmore's property now. You know what I'm saying? We're in this for years. You know what I mean? We planned this. We knew this was going to happen. We're waiting. We're ready to fight for years. He's talking about, oh, man, I'll get in there and fight. And then after the midterms, you know what I mean? I could come out and say, I'm victorious. I beat Iran. It's not that easy. You know what I'm saying? So with all this going on, it's a great time to repent. It's a great time to fast. It's a great time to, you know, just get closer to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Go ahead, King. You bring it out.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near.
It said the Lord, he said, God's going to visit the earth in which he made. Okay. So, and how's he visit? You see, with great noise, with thunder and tempest. You know what I'm saying? The sword. He's a God of judgment. Okay, so this is a great time to get closer to the Most High God, to pray without ceasing. Okay, because you don't want to be in a position where the lights go out and you find yourself like, oh man, I should have repented. You know what I mean? You hear the sky crack open, oh, I should have repented. You know, and brothers, I see, you know, posts, oh man, we still got 50 years here. You know, y'all talking about World War III. We got 50 more years here. This ain't happened. This ain't happened. He's coming like a thief in the night. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. When you talk about World War III, what are you really talking about? America's involved. Israel's involved. Iran's involved. China's giving logistics. You know what I'm saying? Russia and Ukraine are already at war. Saudi Arabia said they're now at war. Qatar said they're now at war. Yemen said if any problem, we jumping in. The UK sent F-22s, I believe, or fighter jets rather, to the fight. You know what I'm saying? They bombed Cyprus, where they are. You know what I mean? You guys are gonna see later on, and France and Germany are being pushed into the war. Okay, so who we missing? Antarctica? What does World War III mean to you? I know you're saying, you know, the nukes. But one thing you gotta understand is that America does not have the interceptors to continue this war. The amount it costs $1 million for one interceptor. If they make 6 to 7 of them a month, right? It takes a long time to make, as opposed to these drones that cost $20,000 to make, and it takes 3 or 4 interceptors to knock down one drone. The math ain't mathing. And they don't have an unlimited supply, like Donald Trump said. Marco Rubio said we don't have a unlimited supply. The next day, Donald Trump said, "Oh, we have unlimited supply." He's lying. Okay, that's why they couldn't go any further with the 12-day war, because they ran out of interceptors. Now they killed the Ayatollah, right? Their spiritual leader, and they're like, there is no peace. You know what I mean? Let's get 1 Thessalonians 5:1. He said there is no peace. We're gonna keep going. We're doing that for years. All right. So listen, you know what I mean? Just don't get caught up in you know, brothers and, you know, online saying that you got another 50 years here when you see all these prophecies happening right, you know, in front of your face. Because trust and believe, if they run out of interceptors, Donald Trump is not afraid to push that button. Donald Trump is not afraid to put a tactical nuke on one of them cruise missiles and blow some stuff up. And then when that happens, now you really got China and Russia involved. You know what I'm saying? When that happens, Pakistan is involved because they got nukes too. They might just nuke India just for, you know, for the hell of it. And a lot of Sunnis are in, I believe it's Sunnis and Shiites are in Pakistan. The same type of Muslims that are in Iran. Okay, so let's read on. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 1, King.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Khan, go ahead.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Yeah, so the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. You know what I'm saying? And think about it like this. Where were you when you realized that America and Israel bombed Iran? I was asleep. You know what I'm saying? I woke up and, you know, groggy, you know what I mean? This was Sabbath or something. I'm like, check my phone out, you know. Thank God I'm alive. And you see Donald Trump talking about, yeah, so we had to do it. Had to do what? You know what I'm saying? So it's like a thief in the night. You wake up and everything's gone. Like, what? I got robbed. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, woke up and the whole world just flipped on its head. And it's still going on right now. It's still bombings. It's still crazy stuff going on right now. Okay? Go ahead. Read verse 3.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
God, didn't Donald Trump just make the what was it, the group of peace or something like that? He's, you know, a peace group, all war criminals. Everybody that's in there is not about peace. You know what I'm saying? But they keep saying that. Oh, and they were doing peace talks, right, in Oman. They were doing peace talks. It's the second time. America is like Pearl Harbor, like the Japs in Pearl Harbor. You know what I'm saying? They said those sneaky Japs, those sneaky Americans. It's like, yo, come on, let's talk about peace. Come on, let's go to Amman, some place that's real set apart. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna bother you there. We're not gonna bomb you there. Let's go to Amman and talk about peace. And what happened? They bombed them. You know what I'm saying? America is shiesty. That's why the ICE agents wear those poo shiesties. They're not even called poo shiesties no more. They're called ice masks. You know what I mean? Poo shiesty don't match up to the people wearing the masks that are ICE agents. They be shooting people in the face 3 times at close range. You know what I'm saying? So America is just completely showing itself as being the son of perdition. Who else? Okay. All right, let's watch the first video and we'll come back with more scriptures and more descriptions of what is going on. And, you know, let's just say, you know, all praise and honor to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Beautiful time to be alive, y'all.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Iranian Red Crescent Society says more than 550 people have been killed since the U.S. and Israel launched a full-scale military assault on Iran early Saturday. The unprovoked attack prompted Iran to launch missiles across the Middle East, targeting Israel and Gulf Arab nations. The joint U.S. and Israeli war on Iran began with a daytime assault on high-security compound of Ali Khamenei, Iran's 86-year-old supreme leader. He was killed in the attack, along with his daughter and grandchild, and with Iran's defense minister, the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces, senior intelligence officials, and other Iranian leaders. Scores of civilians have also been killed in southern Iran. A missile struck a girls' elementary school in the city of Manab, killing at least 165 people. Nearly 100 others were injured. Video of the aftermath shows rescuers searching through twisted concrete and rubble strewn with textbooks and backpacks as screams are heard in the background.
As we entered the school, we saw the body of a teacher that had been cut in half. And as you can see, we are still clearing the debris, and even now, body parts are still coming out.
In another strike, 18 people, most of them children, were killed in Lamerd in southern Iran when a missile struck residences and a gymnasium. About 100 people were wounded in that attack. In a video message, President Trump called for regime change and urged Iranians to take over their government. On Sunday, Trump confirmed reports that 3 U.S. service members have been killed, a toll that's since risen to 5. Trump said there would likely be more injuries and deaths ahead in an operation he said could last for weeks.
For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America" or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do.
President Trump launched the attacks without congressional approval. They came shortly after Omani mediators held a breakthrough in indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran and Geneva when Iran agreed to zero stockpiling of uranium as a guarantee that it would not pursue a nuclear weapon. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned the U.S. for abandoning diplomacy.
Contrary to Americans, that their record is very bad and very negative. You know, this is the second time that we negotiated with Americans and they decided to attack us right in the middle of negotiation.
In Israel, an Iranian ballistic missile struck a residential district of Beit Shemesh on Sunday, killing 9 people and wounding 27 others. Another strike killed a woman in Tel Aviv. Other Iranian missiles were intercepted by Israeli defenses, including one that crashed onto a street in Jerusalem, injuring several people. Iran also launched retaliatory strikes against all Gulf Arab nations that host U.S. military bases, with the exception of Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. All were struck. One person was killed in Abu Dhabi, another person killed in Kuwait, where a defense ministry official reported 3 U.S. F-15 fighter jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses. In Saudi Arabia, an oil refinery caught fire after it was struck by debris from an Iranian missile, closing a facility that processes over 500,000 barrels of crude oil a day. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has effectively come to a halt due to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. Oil prices have surged to a 52-week high, with many analysts predicting they could soon top $100 a barrel. Hundreds of thousands of travelers have been stranded as all flights through some of the world's busiest international airports have been grounded. Stock markets across Asia opened sharply lower on fears the attack on Iran will slow the global economy. Lebanon's health ministry says at least 31 people have been killed and nearly 150 wounded since Israel launched renewed airstrikes on Beirut's suburbs and other parts of Lebanon on Sunday. Tens of thousands of residents of southern and eastern Lebanon were seen fleeing their homes after Israel ordered people in nearly 50 villages to evacuate ahead of a planned bombing campaign. Israel's military says its renewed war on Lebanon comes in response to missiles and drones fired by Hezbollah in retaliation for the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. They were Hezbollah's first major violations of a ceasefire that took effect in November 2024. During that time, the United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, documented more than 15,000 ceasefire violations committed by Israel. Officials in the United Kingdom say an Iranian drone struck a British airbase in Cyprus overnight, causing limited damage and no casualties. Iran's attack came after British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he'd agreed to the Pentagon's request to use British military bases for what Starmer called defensive strikes on Iranian missile sites. Separately, France said it was sending 2 warships to the Red Sea to join a European naval mission. Meanwhile, Germany's foreign minister denied reports that Berlin was seriously considering joining the war against Iran. In Spain, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemned the U.S.-Israeli strikes as a breach of international law.
Se puede estar contra un régimen odioso.
It is possible to be against a hateful regime, as Spanish society as a whole is against the Iranian regime, and at the same time be against an unjustified, dangerous military intervention that's outside international law. One must be against a war that was started without the authorization of the United States Congress or the United Nations Security Council.
On Saturday, Russia and China requested an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, where China's foreign minister called for an immediate ceasefire and the resumption of talks. Russia condemned the U.S.-Israeli attacks as another unprovoked act of armed aggression. Today, U.S. First Lady Melania Trump is presiding over a UN Security Council meeting titled Children, Technology, and Education in Conflict. It's the first time a spouse of a world leader has chaired such a session, and comes just days after U.S.-Israeli strikes killed scores of Iranian school children. The White House says top Trump administration officials will brief both chambers of Congress Tuesday about the U.S. strikes on Iran.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good time to brief people, after you start the war. But I guess better late than never, right? Anyway, so as you can see, a lot's going on. You know what I mean? They're in Lebanon. You know what I'm saying? Fight, blowing up stuff in Lebanon. It is going down. Khan. It also says North Korea allegedly is to give missiles to Iran if they ask. They said, yep, one is all it takes. One is all it takes to get these Amalekites out of there. All right. Let's go to Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to unpack. You know, it's not just as cut and dry as mainstream media likes to say it is. It's going down over there. All right.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
So blessed is he that watcheth. We got to pay attention. We got to watch what's going on. You know what I mean? What I noticed, say with like the Epstein files, I was having a conversation with some sisters out on the street. You know, I was reading the scriptures and everything, right? And they say, the white man's not that bad. You guys are always so angry. You know, why do you think they're so bad? I'm like, did you read the Epstein files? Because that's the ultimate, you know what I'm saying, trump card, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The 34 count convicted felon president is in there over 1 million times. So they said, no, well, I don't read that. So what it comes down to is, it's a difference between, Israelites and Christians. Us Israelites, we got to pay attention, man. We gotta open up the book and read. We got to pay attention to the signs, what they're talking about, what they're saying. The thing about Esau is he'll say, we're thinking about doing this, and then they'll do it. They already have it in their mind that it's getting done. For instance, they said, we're going to have the Kurds, we're going to arm the Kurds and bring them into Iran as a ground force, right? So if you actually sit back and think about it, how well is this going for the Americans? You know what I mean? How did Trump anticipate that he's going to need foreign fighters in this war? Did they anticipate this from the beginning? I don't think so. I think they anticipated blowing up places in Iran, and Iran saying, "Oh, we're so sorry, America's so strong, so powerful. Let's walk away. Here, you can have our country." That's what they honestly thought was going to happen. Now, when you see that that's not happening, now it's Plan B, Plan C, Plan W.W.C. You know what I'm saying? So now they said, we're going to arm the Kurds. And apparently they said the Kurds entered into the western side of Iran. I don't think that happened, because if it did, they would be coming back in body bags, because Iran has tremendous drone capabilities. And, it's a reason why this place hasn't been invaded like that. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why they've been kind of like, I'm not going to say untouched, but people don't mess with them, just like Russia. In that area, it's a lot of mountainous regions. You know what I mean? You have to climb mountains to get over there. And if you try to fly, you have to have enough gas, fueling. You got to look out for RPGs hitting you from the top of a mountain. People just living on mountains with RPGs. It's not like the movies. You know what I'm saying? But when they say they're going to bring in ground troops and they're foreign fighters, the next thing you can anticipate them saying is the draft. Your children are going over there to fight for America. You see the video, it was a guy, he was a Marine. He said, we're not fighting for Israel. And the cops came and took him out. I don't know where they were speaking. There was a senator that helped him take him out, and they broke his arm. They broke a Marine's arm today when he said, we're not going to fight for Israel. You've seen it, like his arm got stuck in the door and just cracked. And you could hear it like pop. And everybody's like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Put their hand up to their mouth and all that. Like, you guys just did that to a Marine. So I just say that to say the people that are making decisions are in the Epstein files. All of them. You know what I mean? Ludnick, Trump, a bunch of other people. You know, the people that are at the high states, like the corporate CEOs that make the decisions. They were in there. Prince, whatever his name is, Andrew. All right. Kyle, can you read verse 16?
Verse 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So this is the department heads in the Department of what do they call it? Department of War now, or whatever, Department of Defense. They said this is ushering in Jesus. Okay, this is the final battle. Trump is anointed by Jesus, and he's ushering in the return of the Messiah. There's an old video of Benjamin Netanyahu talking to some rabbis, and those rabbis were saying, "You're going to be the one to bring in the Messiah." And this was young. This was young Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, now he's war crimed in. He's locked into Satan and all that, right? But this is what they want to do. They want to usher in the Messiah, right? Now, do they know that's going to end up bad for them? Probably, but they can't help it. You know what I'm saying? These people cannot help it. They are more controlled by the Most High than you can ever imagine. You know what I'm saying? So when we see these things happening, they blew up a school with schoolgirls in it and everything like that. You know, all these heathen nations are going to get that payback that, you know, that the Most High has in store for them. So some of the worst things, you know, the worst things that's happening, it is the Lord allowing it to happen because they did it to us. Okay? Can you read verse 17?
Verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done."
It's done. Now, you know, people take slack on this. I mean, it's done. I mean, we're there. We're, you know, is Yahushua gonna come back tomorrow and everything? I don't know when Yahushua coming back, but I do know this: the United States doesn't take losses. What I do know is that they don't have interceptors, and when they keep getting bombed, they are going to do something to win this war. It's really, you know, we live in a day of social media, and it's ironically these old farts like Donald Trump and all them and the people in the White House, they're like, oh, we got to make this thing look good, you know. So we can't lose. You know, this is my legacy. You know, Donald Trump will have no problem putting his finger on the button. You'll have no problem issuing the draft. And you got to understand that they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, we're going to talk more about this. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. Your gas is sky high. It went from under $3 to now I think it's $3.20, only in a matter of days. And it doesn't seem to getting any better. Slocky, what'd you say?
I said, I know one thing, though. I ain't got no interceptor that's going to stop your house out of it. Oh, God, how good your interceptor is.
God, yeah. They're going to be in their Third World War, right? Like it says in Second Ezra, and they're just going to have to stop and try to fight God's son. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna end up good. You know what I mean? But it's when gas goes up, prices go up. When prices go up, inflation goes up. You know what I'm saying? And wages remain stagnant or they'll drop. People aren't going to be able to hire people because, you know, gas is $4, gas is $5. You know, it's going down. Now let's look at some of the people that are involved. Okay, in this what we call World War III.
The leaders of Britain, France, and Germany are now saying that they are ready to conduct defensive strikes. Russia and China have both publicly condemned these strikes.
Developing news coming out that more nations are entering the U.S.-Iran conflict in the Middle East. Take a look at the latest headlines coming out with me today, March 2nd, 2026. War. Qatar joins the war against Iran. China, Russia, North Korea, and Hamas condemn the killing of Iran's Khamenei. Lebanon plunged back into war as Israel targets Iran-backed Hezbollah. UK, France, and Germany are ready to join the U.S. in the war against Iran. Germany says that it's considering joining Israel-U.S. campaign against Iran. However, a couple hours ago, take a look at this. The top diplomat is denying that Berlin is going to be joining the Iranian war. Now, Trump claims the U.S. is yet to launch its largest wave of strikes on Iran. The big one is coming soon, he said, and you can see this coming out today. Now, live updates. Trump says that the war is likely going to be lasting 4 to 5 weeks. Israel is currently under fire, and he is saying that we are ahead of schedule, though, on the war calendar. Iran conflict escalates. 4 U.S. service members killed as the death toll climbs, and Trump warns Iran about larger strikes as the war spirals in the Middle East. And just an update here for you, in case you've heard fake news, they're saying Netanyahu's office dismisses Iran army claims that the prime minister's fate is unclear after a purported Jerusalem missile attack. We're hearing that Netanyahu's office was hit today, and they are saying that his condition is unknown. They're saying that is false, that he is safe, he is fine. But we are seeing, in fact, that this war is expanding. And let me know your thoughts. So do you think that this is going to scale up into a bigger, wider global conflict? And the concern is that it spills out of not just the Middle East, but potentially into Europe and the United States. I shared with you yesterday that we have heard that the FBI has raised high alert for cities here in the United States of potential threats of attacks from sleeper cell groups from Iran or Iran-backed proxy groups.
So that is true, right? That took place in, that we know of, the one in what was that? Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas. It was a guy, I said at the Purim service that he was 15 years old. That was the initial report that I got, but apparently he wasn't 15 years old. He's 56 years old. He had a hoodie on that said "Property of Allah," and underneath that he had a t-shirt with the Iranian flag on it. So it doesn't take much to figure out what was going on there. All right, and he shot 17 people. There's another mass shooting in Cincinnati. 9 people got shot. I don't know the ins and outs of that. So all this happened within 24 hours of the initial strike on Iran and the assassination of the Ayatollah. A person from the State Department stabbed 4 women in a road rage incident in D.C. So they might be under a little bit of stress right now. You know what I mean? Things aren't going the way they planned it to go. So a lot of people, what I noticed is just driving around, you know, people are kind of losing it. You know what I'm saying? Just going through traffic lights and everything. Not saying, you know, there was all put together before this, but I'm just seeing the result of not knowing what's going to happen next. People are just kind of like crashing out. I was in the grocery store the other day and I saw this face of this Edomite woman, and she looked like somebody had a gun to her back. She looked like she was being held hostage. You know what I mean? The fear was on her face and the uncertainty of it all. And it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? Unbelievable, but believable. You can imagine Esau knows what's going to happen next to you know, the point that nobody likes them, and they have to deal with the consequences. So that must be weighing heavily on them. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 21 and verse 2. The main thing is Iran has to lose, right? They gotta get regime change. You know what I mean? For America to say they're winning, because America says we're the toughest people in the world. All Iran really has to do is survive, and he's going to talk about this in the next video. Go ahead, King, bring it out.
You said this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 21, and verse 2. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All the sighing thereof have I made to cease.
Khan, okay, so these visions are treacherous. You know what I mean? A treacherous dealer, spoileth is bad. You know what I mean? Elam is taking over. You know what I'm saying? Showing themselves to be why they remained, you know, intact for the most part, even though, you know, they were conquered, right? Greek captivity. Muhammad came through, but they're pretty much an ancient group of people still, you know, with the people in the land now. And they know warfare. They're very mindful when it comes to warfare. Go ahead, read the next verse.
Therefore, my loins filled with pangs having taken hold upon me, as the pangs of a woman that traveled. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it.
Read on.
My heart panted like it. Fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure hath he turned into fear unto me.
Okay, so let's check out what's going on with these Persian Medes and how this is Conor McGregor, I believe his name is, or something like that, or Douglas. But he has a good take on what we're seeing.
That breaking news, I want to go to a special guest, Colonel Douglas McGregor, U.S. Army Colonel, former senior advisor to Secretary of Defense under President Trump, joins me. Appreciate your joining us, Colonel McGregor. How do you see what's happened in the last 72 hours? It appeared that unlike in June, where Israel and the U.S. virtually had a free run of the skies of Iran, now the ballistic missiles are spreading across the region. Iran is striking back at UAE, at Bahrain, at Kuwait, and making it, as Yusuf just described, a regional war. Do you believe America is prepared for this, for a long war now?
No, and I hope that your audience understands that this war is now an Indian emergency as well. If India's $500 million investment in Chabahar is on fire and its oil routes are blocked, then Indian interests are at severe risk. You depend upon 2.6 million barrels of oil to flow through to your ports from the Strait of Hormuz every day. If that closes, then every Indian family ends up paying a war tax they didn't vote for. So I think I hope that India understands this, because India has a role to play in this crisis.
We'll come to the Indian role, but what you're saying seems to suggest that you also believe that the arena of conflict this time is spreading far and wide with serious economic consequences. Am I correct?
Well, of course, every American base in the region has been hit. Even the American air base at Incirlik in Turkey has been struck. All of these bases have been rendered unusable by us, whether they are seaports or airfields, it doesn't make any difference. So Iran has done really a spectacular job of simultaneously attacking all of these critical bases very early on. And finally, remember, this is probably going to go on for weeks or months unless someone sobers up in Washington. But the thing that will decide this outcome is logistics. We simply don't have enough missiles on hand, and we have a very long line of communications that takes us all the way back to the United States. We've lost most of the ports, virtually all of them in the region, that we would normally use to reload ships, reload missiles, reprovision our forces. So our elements at sea as well as on land right now are limited in how long they can maintain this war, contrary to what is being said in Washington right now.
So are we to understand that Washington was not prepared for this kind of Iranian retaliation? Is that what you're suggesting, that in any war game planning in Washington at the Pentagon, there was no idea that Iran would immediately escalate this or try to escalate it into a regional conflict, which could then get far more prolonged?
Well, whether or not someone in the Pentagon knew anything or thought it all through is a question I can't answer. But one thing is very clear. We don't have an end state in mind. There is no off-ramp. The conditions that we demanded, which were really Israel's conditions from Iran, could not be met. They never could. So it's very obvious that what we need today is a way to stability. Right at the moment, we can't get there. You know, by the way, I think it's very important for people to understand that this war began with the Israeli strike. And frankly, at the time, we were not yet ready to fight, but we decided that we would go in support of Israel anyway. So I don't think any of this is going to any sort of agreed strategic program or schedule.
You made a very interesting point. You seem to suggest that this war, in a way, is being driven by the Israelis. They did the first strike, and the Americans are simply following on that, which is very strange. That normally doesn't happen. Normally, it's the other way around, that the U.S. takes the lead. Are you saying it's been very different in that sense? Netanyahu is the one who has virtually pushed Donald Trump into this war.
Netanyahu has more influence in Washington, where essentially the Israel lobby has purchased the Congress and the White House. President Trump owes his position in the White House to Zionist billionaires that funded him. So Israel is very much in control. The United States is not. And this is a serious problem. You'll note that the Secretary of Defense talked about Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism. Well, that's a lot of nonsense. He's referring to things that happened 40 years ago. Iran has changed profoundly, and Iran is not a state sponsor of terrorism. If we were really concerned about radical Islam and terrorism, we'd be focused on Pakistan. Pakistan is the wellspring of radical Islam, financed in large part by Saudi Arabia. And now we have a government in Syria, which is a product of ISIS and al-Nusra and al-Qaeda. So why are we attacking Iran? We are attacking Iran because it's the last state in the region, at least at this point, that is presenting resistance to Israel. Israeli or Jewish supremacy in the region cannot be established until Iran is eliminated as a major player. So this is no longer about regime change. We're trying to destroy the Iranian state.
But so when Donald Trump today turns and says that, look, we're going to escalate this war, you've not seen it in an unprecedented manner, it may take weeks. He's also warned of casualties. We've already got confirmed reports of 4 American soldiers. Are you saying it could get worse? Because one red line we are told is that there will be no use of U.S. ground troops come what may.
Well, there can't be any use of ground troops simply because we don't have the ground troops to send. Our army is a fraction of what it was in the past. We simply can't project power into the region. If we try to project power into the region, ballistic missiles will destroy us. Cruise missiles will destroy us. This is a new world we're in. We're seeing the end of an old era and the beginning of a new one. You know, if you just look at the UAE, for instance, it is being effectively taken out of the world economy by a few cheap drones. And our missile defenses have turned out to be completely inadequate to the task of protecting the Gulf states, where we've invested time and money to effectively protect them. Well, we can't do it, and that's being demonstrated. I think the world is changing dramatically right now.
So, Colonel McGregor, do you believe, therefore, regime change is possible, or will that be off the table? Will this now be the US and Israel claiming, look, we got Ali Khamenei out. Now we'll press the pause button, perhaps, and go back to the negotiating table? Does the US have the appetite, I come back to it, for a prolonged confrontation, as you're saying, is more likely?
No, there's no appetite in the United States for any sort of major war, let alone a long war. That's something that most Americans are unalterably opposed to. The Israelis have purchased the Congress and the White House. That's why we're doing what we are doing. There is no pressure or interest in the United States in any of this. You know, what we want in the United States has nothing to do with what President Trump and Congress are doing right now. This really needs to be understood. In the meantime, supply chains, you know, the global hub in the UAE with aviation, these things are being destroyed. You know, you've got 4.6 million of your citizens stranded in the Gulf. India faces a domestic humanitarian crisis that no evacuation can easily handle. This is a disaster. That's why I said I hope that the Indian government, which is probably the only adult in the room left right now, can bridge this gap. We're entering a sovereign shift. The future of the world is not being written in Washington anymore. By the time this is over, the Sykes-Picot Treaty, which created all of these tiny Arab states after the First World War, will be irrelevant. You know, the future is being written now in the Persian Gulf and in Asia. It's time really for everybody to understand the world has changed. America doesn't want it to change. That is the American government. We're really fighting against the future right now, not just Iran, because Iran is not our enemy. It's Israel's enemy.
But in conclusion, you've got the might of the American forces, you've got and technology, you've got Israel with perhaps the sharpest intelligence that you can get, and also a very strong force with technology. And you've got other nations slowly grouping, rallying around the US and Israel. Are you telling me that Iran can resist this, you believe, for an extended period?
Yes, I think Iran is resisting. And that's really all Iran has to do. Iran is the one that has to endure. It has to survive. And I think that it will. The United States is in a very difficult position now because of all the bombastic rhetoric from President Trump. We keep advertising ourselves as the most powerful nation in the world. That means that Iran has to submit unconditionally to whatever we demand based on what the Israelis demand. That's not going to happen. In the meantime, I think we figured out that a few $1,000s worth of drones can take down a $500 billion economy in the Gulf. The UAE, great example. This thing is going to drag on for months. The Chinese and the Russians are watching. Iranian air defenses are beginning to be effective. The missiles that Iran has are almost inexhaustible, whereas the missiles on our side are very limited, and we can't produce them quickly. We can't surge power. Right. We can't surge missiles.
Okay. I'm going to leave this, Colonel McGregor, there. You've, in a way, spoken.
Okay. You know what I mean? Just putting it out there. You know? This is the fight. This is what's going on. It ain't as cut and dry as Trump says it is. You know, it's not as cut and dry as Pete Hegseth says it is. You know, these drones are taking out, you know, like I said, $1 trillion economy. And, you know, we'll see if Saudi Arabia puts his money where his mouth is. And honestly, so the Saudi Arabian oil field got blown up. They caught Mossad agents doing that, though. You know, they try to blame it on Iran, so it'll be that Sunni, what is it, Shiite war. You know, and the Sunnis, the Sunnis are in Pakistan, so Sunnis, Pakistan, Iran, Shiite, Saudi Arabia, so forth and so on. But they caught the Mossad agents blowing up the oil field, and they try to blame it on Iran. Why are they doing this? Because if they blow up the Saudi oil fields, then they're in the war, because that's their main source of income. They blow up the Iranian oil fields, and you know the whole region really is in flames. You know what I'm saying? Literally in flames. But and I mean, gas price would be astronomical. You're not getting anything from no grocery store anytime soon. You know, not maybe tomorrow, but you can see how the future famine is being played out, because they closed the Strait of Hormuz already. Gas prices went up 20 cents. If they start bombing the oil fields right now, Qatar is not producing any oil, and they produce a lot of oil. Okay, so all these oil-rich countries where we get our oil from, getting our gasoline, it just don't come from nowhere. They don't produce oil. Gas prices go up. Prices at the grocery store goes up. It's not sustainable. Economically, America's done. Okay, so this ain't no walk in the park. You know what I mean? They killed the Ayatollah, their supreme leader. You know what I mean? Their spiritual leader, and it's war. Okay, let's continue on because we got more. All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. They don't want money. I mean, at one point in time, they had a nuclear pact. Obama had a nuclear pact. Of course, Trump says it wasn't good enough, got out of it, right? They had a nuclear pact. Fuck it. They had a nuclear pact, and they, you know, they unfroze their funds, some billions of dollars. Now you think if they unfroze their, and Trump, of course, put it back on. Now, if they unfroze their money, you think they will care? Let's see what the scriptures say. Go ahead, King.
This is Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
So he's stirring up the Medes. Go ahead, verse 18.
Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children.
So they're right now. Those bombs are being deployed all over, but they're hitting military targets. Now, keep in mind, it was Iran that burned Baal, and this is right when the Epstein files came out. They burned Baal, and didn't take long after that because that's their god. Netanyahu and Trump and everything. That's why they abuse children, and they get rewarded from their god. So what's the first thing they did on Saturday when the bombing started? They killed Ayatollah, but they blew up a primary school full of girls. You know what I'm saying? To appease their god. Okay. Now, eventually, yeah, and you see, it was a bunch of missiles launched to Tehran today, and blowing up. They're clearly residential zones. It couldn't be all military targets. So they're killing civilians now. Amalek is. So it might be a point in time where the Medes, as the scriptures say, they're not going to regard children either. You know what I'm saying? If you are part of the axis of Epstein, then you're going to get a missile delivered at your front door. Read verse 19.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, Salakia, a beauty of Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Because you gotta understand, everybody's getting tired of this place. Americans are tired of America. North Korea just came out of nowhere like, yo, you need a bomb? I got you. You know what I'm saying? You could blow up the Amalekites. One is all it'll take. But since America can't sustain this war, it's only going to be a matter of time before they go through other means. You know, they cheat. I mean, there's no real cheating in war, but they'll use nuclear weapons. And when America used nuclear weapons, now everybody's in on it because everybody that's with them, you know, it says in Obadiah, you know what I mean? They're greatly despised. Though, you know, like it says in Jeremiah 51, everybody's going to aim their arrows at Babylon. Okay, so let's just wait for it. All right, so right now let's get Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 19. We're going to switch speeds a little bit. Talked a lot about the war that's going on right now. It's only going to get worse. You know, just keep an eye out on it. And don't believe the corporate media. You know what I'm saying? Just read through their lies. But something that came out recently was Esau is actually waking up. Esau is waking up to who the children of Israel are. Let's bring that out. Jeremiah 16, verse 19.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, and verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge, in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
So Tucker Carlson, if you ever watched Fox News or seen Tucker Carlson, he has some of the best dog whistling racist things he can say. He's always been that type. He says, conservative Christian. They're all Christians, but of course the clans, the Ku Klux Klan was Christians as well. So he interviews Kanye West, and apparently behind the scene, Kanye told him some stuff. All right, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but now he interviewed Mike Huckabee, who is the ambassador, the United States ambassador to Israel. And in his mind, Israel can do no wrong. You bless Israel and you'll be blessed. And he interviews him, which is a viral interview. I definitely recommend you check it out as an Israelite, because he says everything but the blacks or the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans are the real Jews according to the Bible. He says everything but that. But because as soon as he says that, they're going to shut him down, right? But he has the audience think outside the box, because a lot of those conservative Christians just say, "Oh yeah, Israel, the people over there in Israel, right?" But he starts talking about DNA. Who says this? Like, why is that important? And of course, Huckabee has no scriptures. You know what I mean? They don't know the Bible at all. So let's watch a few minutes of this. This is some heavy news. It got overshadowed for the most part because of what's going on in Israel. But this is a big news segment because the aircraft carriers and destroyers or whatever, they weren't allowed to port in certain ports over there around Israel, because of this interview. That's how heavy this interview was worldwide. Like, you let Tucker Carlson disrespect the Jews or the Jewish man. So let's check this out.
Who have the right to have this land, correct? Yes. Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. As for the Nazi thing, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never come to. It's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like Yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
This is interesting. Very, very interesting. You just heard Tucker Carlson say, quote, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, it wasn't on camera, but I was like, that was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that. Who was he referring to in that clip you just watched? Let me give you a hint. Listen closely.
So you just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and the lanyard's still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
Why would Tucker Carlson say to Kanye West or Ye, I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet? Think about that. Ye made a number of provocative statements, but what was it that caused Tucker Carlson to respond that way? Now listen to the unaired leaked footage from that same interview. It provides clarity as to why Tucker made that comment.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are.
Again, Ye said, quote, Planned Parenthood was by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenicist with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the race, the people known as the race black really are. Now, before some of you rush to post emotional or hostile comments, pause for a moment and really listen to what Dr. Stephen Pidgeon, CEO of Sefer Publishing Group, the publisher of the Sefer translation of the Bible, has stated regarding the origins and intent of Planned Parenthood.
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
Let his words settle in. He did not stutter. He did not hesitate. He stated plainly, quote, Hitler and the Nazis expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics. Eugenics was a movement born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism, with the intent to eliminate the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, to eliminate them. Whether one agrees or disagrees, these are statements being made publicly by figures within religious and political spaces. Many of you through the lens of European supremacy and the framework handed down through the so-called Abrahamic faith traditions, Judaism, Catholicism, Christianity, and Islam, have been conditioned to accept very narrow definitions of who qualifies as the so-called true Jews. You may accept modern Arabs. You may accept modern Palestinians, most of whom trace lineage through centuries of Turkic Ottoman and Turkic Arab migrations. You may accept Asians. You may accept certain Ethiopian communities. But when the descendants of enslaved Africans, the so-called Negroes of the Americas, assert a connection with actual sources and actual DNA testing, something the 1948ers are forbidden to do to Israelite identity, Many react as if it is the ultimate offense, as if it is the greatest level of disrespect. Why? That reaction itself is worth examining.
This is a trainer, but come to find out, he's actually Canadian intelligence, but this is my trainer. So this shows you the kind of handlers that are around the superstars in California, right? So it says, I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words. And everything that is discussed is based in fact, and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tree. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. This is the way a Hollywood trainer was talking to me to force me to go and like apologize. You think about if Harley was part of intelligence, right? What kind of people you think are surrounding my kids? What kind of people you think are in that house?
But very few people took that claim seriously. In fact, it was exactly the kind of thing a crazy person would say. My trainer drugged me into submission. He's trying to make me into a zombie. Right. Sure he did. Have another olanzapine shot, Kanye. You look tired. So that's where the story stood until the other day. Nobody believed Kanye West. Then West posted something remarkable on Twitter, which for some reason virtually all of American media ignored, which is odd because media outlets are not usually in the business of ignoring remarkable things, but they did. And what he posted was a picture of a text exchange that he had had with Harley Pasternak. Pasternak was explaining that West had better stop saying, quote, crazy stuff. In other words, he'd better get back on script, or else he would be severely punished. Quote, second option, if you don't shut up, quote, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. Try if you can to imagine a more sinister threat than that, a more chilling threat than that. Do what I say or I will turn your brain to mush. I will destroy your relationship with your own children. I will send you back to, quote, zombie land forever. Effectively, I'll kill you. Now, keep in mind, this is from West's, quote, trainer, not his physician. This is the guy he'd hired to help him do squats. A trainer? Really? Did they talk like that at your gym? Probably not. So what's going on here exactly? Well, according to his bio, Harley Pasternak, who is not denied writing these texts, once worked for the Canadian military, where he participated in experiments that measured the effect of various drugs on the human mind. Is that training relevant to this story? We don't know. We do know that based on this text exchange, which again, Harley Pasternak has not said is untrue or fake, on the basis of that, law enforcement agencies definitely ought to be looking very closely at Harley Pasternak, who, by the way, apparently has dozens of other celebrity clients, some of whom seem to be out there campaigning. Based on these texts, this looks like a crime. Why is no one investigating it? The fact that no one is investigating it tells you a lot.
Regardless of how many of you may feel about Ye, you cannot deny that his words and actions triggered a noticeable shift in the public narrative surrounding the 1948ers. The real question is this: what did Ye say to Tucker Carlson off the record that caused such a dramatic shift? Was it simply the leaked footage that we all saw, or was there more said behind the scenes that never made it to the public? Whatever it was, something changed. Tucker Carlson went from downplaying the conversation, saying,
I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
Now to publicly raising questions that he had never raised before. He moved from dismissing the claim as far out to suggesting that the Jewish community as we know it should participate in DNA testing to prove who they are.
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Would you be against doing that?
Not only did he raise this point in conversation with Mike Huckabee, but he also began questioning the legitimacy of Benjamin Netanyahu's bloodline.
If Bibi's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
How do we know that?
Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
When I show you what I'm about to show you, your mind will be blown. You're going to be blindsided. Every single Israeli prime minister has a fake name. Did you know that? I was just talking about Ben Gurion. Do you know what his original name is? It's Gruen, Gruen. He changed it to make it sound more Jewish and sound more Middle Eastern. Do you know what Netanyahu's real name is? It's not Netanyahu, it's Milkovsky.
This story begins in October 1949, 1 year after Israel's formation. This is when Netanyahu was born, the second child of a historian. His paternal grandfather was a rabbi and a Zionist writer. His name was Nathan Milikowski. Later in life, he Hebraized his surname from Milikowski to Netanyahu, a name which means God has given.
This is Yair Netanyahu's DNA test that has been leaked. You can see right there, his Y DNA is RM198. Descendants of RM198 come from Poland, Russia, Germany, and other European countries. Does this look Semitic to you? Does this look Middle Eastern?
Maybe you will ask, who is Mr. Milikovisky? I did ask, and you told me, but I didn't know before. He is Benjamin Netanyahu. This is the real name. Prime Minister or President of Israel. The colonial settler state of Israel.
I swear to God, go and look it up. You'll find Milkovsky. That's his real name. These are, remember what Israelis are. Israelis are European Jews. They don't come from Palestine, but they want you to make you believe. They want to make believe and make you believe that they come from this area, that they are indigenous to the land, that they're so Jewish, right? Even though they have no connection. So they change the names.
That is not a minor shift. The tone changed, the posture changed, and the framing changed. So again, what was said off camera, because something clearly moved the needle.
Tell us more about your work and the coursework that you're doing, because you are a real advocate for this topic and why it's so important in the times we're living in.
I appreciate it. I think the most important thing is like the if so, so what? So we've established that there are these individuals over here, but the next question is, what do we do about it? Is everyone's supposed to convert and come back to Israel? But if we think that way, there's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity. There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
Is there a reason that the Jewish people that represent, and I want to get back to this because you didn't let me finish a while ago, they represent 0.2% of the world's population. In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total. In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
16 million.
100 million.
16 million.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity coming from the tribes. And Israel's, smaller than the size of New Jersey. Is it sustainable to think in the way of having to convert and bring back? And if you look at the Lemba, they don't even want to convert. They said, why are we converting to something we're already part of?
Have you ever stopped to think about this? How does a nation that makes it illegal to perform a DNA test without a court order claim the authority to question everyone else's DNA in order to determine who does or does not have a connection to the ancient Israelites? That contradiction alone should cause people to pause. Take the Lemba, for example. The Lemba of Southern Africa have been studied for decades. Genetic research concluded that the men were determined to be descendants of Israel. And within that group of men, a percentage were identified as carrying markers associated with the Levitical priesthood line. My own DNA test results show that I am connected to the Lemba. Yet recognition, acceptance, and official acknowledgement have remained complicated and tightly controlled. Now, listen carefully to what the late Lemba elder, Cohen Hamandishi, explained regarding their experience.
So because of my office also in the parliament, they also approached me, the government of Israel, said, can you help us to collect some samples of DNA? We want to do our own test because we are hearing about your claim that you are Jews, but we want to do our own test on you. So I told them that it's not easy to go and tell someone that I want to collect your blood. It's not easy. So no, we don't take blood. We take saliva. So say, oh, that's okay. So they sent me a kit from Tel Aviv. Then I collected some saliva, some saliva.
Slack, you off the sake of time can continue to watch this on your own, but I'll give you the brief synopsis. He checked his DNA and he's like 80%. You know what I mean? From the land, and the guy, he went to a hotel to talk to the person that was that gave him the saliva test. And he says, yeah, I'm 0.2 or something crazy like that, like the Edomite Amalekite that was there. So they know they're not the real Jews. Okay. So I think that's important to the uprising that's happening, Judah, Benjamin, Levite, the 10 tribes, everybody's waking up to the fact that we are the real Jews according to the Bible, but Esau's also waking up and he's coming at the so-called Jewish man. He is conservative. The conservative Christians, they're like, what do you mean they're not? You guys aren't the real Jewish people. And it makes sense because they're just bombing people indiscriminately. Just, devil knows he has a short time. Okay. And let's get 2 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 38. And also Tucker Carlson, if you remember when we were watching the video where he got scratched in his sleep, both sides of his back, with like some claw-like animal, you know what I mean? It's like a demon, really, scratched him at night. So that's part of the wake up of the Edomites, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna have rest, they're not gonna have peace, so the Most High is making them acknowledge who we are, as opposed to the so-called Amalekites, or the Amalekites, so-called Jews over there in Israel. Go ahead, King, you bring it out.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 38. If thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of Yahweh.
So, that's like Tucker Carlson right now. That interview with Mike Huckabee is very telling, that Michael Huckabee is your average Christian conservative and knows nothing about the Bible and knows nothing about history. It's possible that he does and he's just playing dumb, but he can't bring out any facts, obviously, and scripture regarding the so-called white man being the Jew, the true Jew. You know what I'm saying? And Tucker Carlson pretty much rips into him. Okay. It's really embarrassing for Mike Huckabee, but like I said, it went viral, 4 or 5 million views probably by now. And a lot of people that watched it are those white evangelical, whatever conservatives that believe that, they got to give half their paycheck to Israel. So now it's a wake-up call. Most High is exposing things in these last days. Speaking of expose, let's get Acts chapter 2 and verse 19. The signs are everywhere. You got blood moons. You have rivers turning into blood over there in Iran. And obviously you see the results of that a few months later. You have war. Go ahead, King. Bring it out.
This is the book of Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2. Verse 19. And I will shew wonders in heaven above the signs, in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke.
So say I'm gonna show wonders in the heavens. You know what I'm saying? So there's wonders being shown in the heavens and signs in the earth beneath. So both things happen in a fairly recent time. You know, it's blood rivers in Iran. People are like, oh, well, that's just the way the oxidation of the soil goes. But I mean, your neighborhood, if it rains, it doesn't turn to blood. You know what I mean? So over there, turned blood red. And the last time that happened, that's when Israel struck Iran. You know what I mean? And then it happened again, I believe in December, November. And where are we at now in February? A couple months later, same result. Okay. Go ahead. Can you read the next verse? Well, matter of fact, hold on. Hold that. And we'll get the next verse in a minute. Let's just see a quick reminder of what happened.
Welcome to the We On podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we break down the haunting visuals of blood-red water on Iran's Hormuz beach that stunned the internet and sparked prophecy fears worldwide. As rain transforms the shoreline into a deep crimson spectacle, we question, are these scenes a warning from ancient scriptures, or a striking reminder of how powerful nature and science can appear when misunderstood? Iran was drenched by welcome rains on December 10th, as it battles the driest autumn in over 50 years. On Hormuz Island's Red Beach, the water turned red, giving the illusion of blood-drenched rivers. According to social media posts, the beach and the sea were awash with a bright red color. Videos and photos of the red water were splashed across social media.
Slocky, so they don't have any pictures of it. It's just representative image, but nevertheless, that's what happened. Now, can you read verse 20?
The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come.
So now we had a blood moon that just occurred yesterday, actually. You know what I mean? March 3rd at, if you're Eastern Standard Time, it was 6:30. The peak, it was with 80 minutes, a lunar eclipse. So the peak of it was at 6:33, but over there in Pacific Standard Time, it was 3:33. So last night, it was a blood moon. Okay. And let's talk about it. Because you can't not see it along with all these other things that are happening in the world.
Night owls are in for a treat with a blood moon to grace the sky tonight. Stargazers in every state can watch the moon turn a deep red colour for nearly an hour, starting around 10 p.m.
The significance of that red-orange hue is why it's sometimes called a blood moon. I also sat down with Stuart Brackney, president of the Phoenix Astronomical Society. He gave me an interesting take on the meaning of the lunar eclipse.
Wars have been started and stopped because of this event. Marriages have taken place and stopped because of this event. And sacrifices have been made because of this event, because they think in the past it was a message from above.
Putting all of this together, there will be certainly a new Iran and a new Middle East that is on the back end of this fighting, but no one seems to have, and I don't think anyone can have any idea what that will actually look like, because we're in a moment of just profound uncertainty as to what comes next.
And despite the efforts by top negotiators that were sent to Oman and to Switzerland, whether it be Special Envoy Steve Witkoff or President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who we know have been working across the region around the clock over the past year, not just on this issue, but also to get a ceasefire in Gaza and implement the new Board of Peace to create stability in the region. The understanding was that the Iranian regime and the supreme leader himself, these were the last hurdles for the region between stability and instability.
All right, if you're waking up very early tomorrow morning, keep your eyes to the sky for the chance to catch a total lunar eclipse. It all starts around 3:44 Tuesday morning. The eclipse will begin slowly as the moon enters Earth's outer shadow. While the initial dimming is faint, the event becomes unmistakable as the moon slides deeper into the planet's central shadow. So poetic. The phenomenon is popularly known as a blood moon, as a red hue surrounds the moon. For more information, by the way,
A showcase of our universe, letting us know a lot is happening out in space.
President Trump held the first meeting of his Board of Peace this morning, following the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. It comes as CBS News has learned he's weighing new military action against Iran as soon as this weekend. But no decisions have been made. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
sources tell CBS News Iran was discussed in the White House Situation Room on Wednesday. The conversations are described as fluid and ongoing. This morning, President Trump is promoting his focus on peace and deal making.
I think we have to smile. Good. A lot of good deals.
President Trump convened an inaugural Board of Peace meeting in Washington, D.C. Thursday morning with at least 24 countries represented.
We've done the biggest thing of all. We have peace in the Middle East right now.
The president also announced that member states have pledged more than $7 billion for humanitarian aid and reconstruction in Gaza.
When you set aside weapons and killing and destruction and invest in your people and invest in prosperity, it can create great things.
The meeting comes as President Trump weighs action against Iran. Sources tell CBS News top national security officials have told the president the military is ready for potential strikes as soon as this weekend.
They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region.
But sources say the timeline is likely to extend beyond the weekend and that President Trump has not yet made a final decision.
They must make a deal, or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen if it doesn't.
As part of a massive military buildup, a second aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, is on its way to the Middle East. All U.S. forces deployed to the region are expected to be in place by mid-March.
Over on Capitol Hill, some lawmakers are sounding the alarm, saying President Trump cannot move forward without consulting Congress. Democratic Congress member Ro Khanna says he and Republican Thomas Massie have a war powers resolution and will try to use a discharge petition to force a vote.
We begin this hour, though, with the latest developments in the Middle East as America and Israel wage war on Iran. Let's go live to Mimi Becker in Tel Aviv. Mimi, good morning.
Good morning, David. This conflict is spreading and spreading quickly, with Lebanon now being hit by Israel as Israel and Hezbollah exchange blows. The city of Beirut, multiple strikes have been seen there, with Lebanon officials now saying that more than 50 people have been killed. Israel is also continuing to strike Iran, with Tehran hit multiple times today, but Iran is still fighting back. In the city of Beersheba here, about an hour and a half south of Tel Aviv, a missile hit just 100 meters from an apartment block. Several people were injured there, but luckily no one was killed. And we've also seen today that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has visited the site of a strike that hit yesterday that killed 9 people. That was a school, a synagogue, and a bomb shelter that was struck.
The world is changing very fast right in front of us. The old world is gone, frankly, the world I grew up in, and we live in a new era of geopolitics, and it's going to require all of us to sort of re-examine what that looks like and what our role is going to be. And we've had many of these conversations in private with many of our allies. They are our allies, and we need to continue to have those conversations. And I think Saturday, hopefully, in the meetings we'll have there, when we.
So if you wanted to see it in totality, what would be the best way to go about doing that? And as far as time?
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the fun thing about this, Greg. Just remember the number 3. It's the 3rd month, the 3rd day at 3 o'clock at 33 minutes. Okay. So that is an amazing lineup. So all you have to do is remember 3. 3rd month, 3rd day, 3rd hour, 33 minutes a.m. at the maximum, the totality. And It's about 33 degrees above the southwest horizon. It might be a good day to play the lottery. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen anything like this where the numbers all line up, except for the year, but not a bad and easy way to remember the time and date. Now, most people need to remember that it's happening on the night of March 2nd. It's in the morning of March 3rd. Some people will go out on the night of the March 3rd thinking the eclipse is going to happen. It's already happened. You missed it. Okay. So that's what's happening. So you want to be someplace where you have a good view of the southwest horizon and you'll be able to see the full moon. It's easy. Even if it is mostly cloudy or partly cloudy forecast, you can always see the moon kind of break through a little bit. We've had that numerous times, especially here in Oregon. In the valley, okay, we might get some fog and clouds, but it's still worth a shot. You might get a better chance at Central Oregon, but be out there about 3 o'clock. You don't need any special equipment. Just go in your backyard as long as you have a southwest view. Just look up, you'll see the full moon. Binoculars are great. And then for an hour, you'll see the totality at 3:33. And then it's all over at 4. I know a lot of people have to go to work on Tuesday, so it might be kind of hard to do that during that fashion.
But if you can get up, would you say that it's worth it to get up and see something like this?
Yes, it is. And, we won't have another totality for 4 years. Okay, totality that is. But we'll have some partials along the way. But it's still definitely worth it. It's fun. It's beautiful, safe, easy. And it's an opportunity to see what the lunar eclipse is about, how fun it is, and so on.
All right. Well, you've convinced me. Well, that's amazing. Anything else that you think is really important for people to know?
Well, we are not doing any stargazing party on the Rose City Astronomers. And this is something that's very easy, comfortable. You don't have any fancy equipment. Just look up and enjoy the view of the lunar eclipse. And then the next one you'll be ready for will happen in August 28th, which will be a partial eclipse. And it'll just be just a moonrise. You'll start seeing partial of it. So you have 2 opportunities this year.
Fantastic. Jim, thank you as always for walking through all of this and explaining this to everybody. And that's crazy with the number 3.
It is. And I have never had anything like this before. And it's like, wow, that's an easy one to remember. Just remember the number 3. And you could just memorize it and say, okay, I'll be out there at 3:33. That's easy.
It's easy. And that's how that worked out.
Okay, so now also 2 goes into, what are we in 2026? 2 goes into 6 3 times, so it's a lot of 3s. And safe to say that it's a message, right? Because Esau can't do that. Esau don't have the power to cause an eclipse. I know a lot of people like to think he's the Almighty and can do anything, but look, man. How about Shimei Shah talking to us? We just got to listen. All right. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 10 and verse 12. Putting marks on Tucker Carlson's back, having him come at the ambassador to Israel and to try to explain that, who's the real Jews. Look, Esau waking up too. All right. So it should be interesting future that we living in. But can you bring it out?
This is Exodus chapter 10 and verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail have left.
So we all know that we had some crazy snowstorms that just took place throughout the winter time. So now bring on the locusts. You read the next verse?
And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, The east wind brought the locusts.
Time. So here are these locusts.
It's that time of year.
So we got our locusts now, okay? When a locust, we got locusts, all right?
I bet it's just driving just sound nasty, just driving over there.
Yeah, especially at the end, it's all
Yeah.
hitting. Oh. Locust is vicious. So we got locusts. Now let's talk about sinkholes. Let's go to Numbers chapter 16, verse 29. We got locusts, we got blood moons, we got warring powers fighting in the Middle East. We got a lot going on. No shalom. No shalom. No. Can you bring it out?
This is number 16 and 29. Excuse me. If these men die, the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent you.
Moses like, look, if they just die a normal death, hey, the guy ain't sent me. You know what I'm talking about? Sprouse, he's tripping right now. He's saying he's getting everybody together, the Levites. You know, I could do what Moses can do, right? Go ahead.
But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord.
So Korah thought he could do what Moses does. And that's not how it works. So let's see what's happening in Philly right now.
Philly.
Two major snowstorms between the temperature swings and winter road treatments. Potholes are popping up, and it's not just potholes. NBC 10's Johnny Archer reports some neighborhoods in Philadelphia are dealing with even bigger problems.
Here in Philadelphia, we are seeing issues with not only potholes, but sinkholes as well, like here on South 23rd Street. Holes that are several feet wide and long, an opening in the road that can stop a car dead in its tracks.
In the Nicetown area, it's bad. Like a lot of potholes, you know. You got something got to give.
This not so nice gaping hole sits in the middle of the street at 17th and Bristol in the Nicetown section of North Philadelphia.
I didn't even know that pothole right there was that deep. I thought it was just like a regular pothole. That thing like a earth sink pool. It goes like a whole nother town live under there.
It just formed out of nowhere, and I actually moved my car back because I was thinking that just might sink.
The hole plugged with a trash can and milk crate and no caution sign nearby until after NBC 10 first reported on the issue Sunday night. By Monday, the city of Philadelphia covered the hole with a steel plate and placed a caution sign up.
Finally, it's covered up, but it has definitely been here for at least a week.
In South Philadelphia, another cave-in, this one at 23rd and Fitzwater. Cars swerved to avoid falling in. SEPTA says it's 7 buses being detoured because of the sinkhole. The cause of these cave-ins are unclear right now, but water department officials say in most cases, a water issue leads to the collapse. City records show more than 1,000 potholes or sinkholes have been reported to Philadelphia's 311 service since December, and more than 400 of those cases are still open.
The sinkholes have just been turning into really big holes, and, you know, definitely very concerning because, you know, I park out here. So my car could have ended up in there, a child, anything.
It should be fixed, though, because at the end of the day, our cars is breaking, and we got to pay these mechanics and car repair shops to fix our car. We paying thousands. Like, they messing up our car.
Now, if your car or your property was damaged or you were injured because of a sinkhole or pothole, you can file a claim against the city. All you have to do is go to the Office of Risk Management and fill out this form here, but make sure you file a claim within 6 months of the incident happening. In South Philadelphia, Johnny Archer, NBC.
Now, check me out though, right? Because the reality is, he said, "Oh, it has to be a water issue." Nicetown is in North Philly, and we say 23rd and Fitzwater is in South Philly. So you tell me it's a water issue throughout the entire city? Nah, man, this wicked, diabolical city's getting judged. That's what it is. How you get sinkholes throughout the entire city? I mean, come on, right? But you know, this is the city is filled with Muslims, Christians, and nobody do what they supposed to do for real. You know, on a grand scale of things. So repentance is very necessary, not only in Philadelphia but nationwide, worldwide. You see what's going on. There's no peace. This is a time of war and hate. Pay attention. All right. So let's get Psalm chapter 37 and verse 34. Talk about a very known figure in the rap industry, Salt and Pepper's here, right? She went down, she let it all out. She let it all out. We're gonna watch her whole speech on what's going on, diatribe, and what's going on in the Hollywood music industry, everything. She lets it all out. Let's bring that out, King.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37 to 34. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, then shalt see it.
So that's a beautiful thing. You know, when the wicked are cut off, you're gonna see it. They're being exposed right now. Go ahead.
I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree.
You know, there's nothing that could stop them. You know, there's an unlimited supply. You know, great power. They own Hollywood. They own the banks. They own, you know, every industry you can really think of, sports industry, whatever. You know, they had coaches and owners really that were in Epstein files. You know, in the NFL, you have people that were princes. You know, obviously the president. So, you know, these people are being exposed, right? Go ahead.
Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yeah, I sought him, but he could not be found.
So it's time for them to go. It's time for them to go. Salt articulates this very well. If you haven't seen it, we're gonna watch it. If you have seen it, you're gonna see it again. Enjoy.
Because people will think that you're crazy. Talk about it because people will think that you're crazy. So now we know Satanists and Luciferians run the world. 2 Corinthians, it describes that Satan is the god of this world. They own the government, politics, Democrats and Republicans, the court system, the education system, the banks, the Federal Reserve, real estate, farms, Hollywood, what we watch, music, what we listen to, media, what we believe, sports, big pharma, everything. We pay their taxes, we work their jobs, we buy their houses. We don't own anything really, because even if we paid for a house outright, if we miss paying taxes one time, they can take the home. We've been pitted against each other like crazy forever. Black versus white, rich versus poor, men versus women, Democrats versus Republicans, Muslims against Christians. We fight over narratives that they've created to keep us divided while they're doing whatever they want. Hunting, killing, sexually assaulting, sacrificing, torturing, cannibalizing, and organ harvesting our children. Grooming them and over-sexualizing them, teaching them inappropriate things in school, They start wars and they tell us it's this country or that country, or it's this religion who's our enemy. And our kids go to war to defend lies. They fund both sides of the war and make billions of dollars while our family members are sacrificed. We have been bamboozled beyond our wildest dreams. Everything we've been fed is a lie. So what do we do? If you're like me, like, okay, we got the information, but what do? We can't impeach the president because that's up to Congress. The only power we have is our dollars, our prayers, and our voices. Some people will laugh at that, but when it comes to their God, they're on their job. They pray to their God, they worship him, they murder, assault children, make blood sacrifices. They are very dedicated to making sure their God is pleased with them. We can stop feeding the beast with our dollars. When things are exposed, we can stop giving them our money. I'm not telling you who you should buy from or where to spend your money, but I do encourage you to investigate the companies you patronize. Find out who they are, what their practices are, what their beliefs are. I know we love certain brands, but do we know their history? Who owns your bank? Is there another place that you can put your money? Because if they decide, they can close the banks whenever they want, or they can freeze our accounts if we don't comply with their narrative. They're purposely poisoning our water, air, and food. So support your local farmers if you have access. I know everyone doesn't have access. I understand that. Buy fresh, real food. Buy land if you can. Grow food if that's in your heart. Even this information we've been exposed to, I think it's designed to see what we will do. This information can make us feel helpless and depressed and even more complacent, giving them even more control to usher in their new world order, their one world government, one currency, one world dictatorship where we have no rights at all. So we can refuse digital ID, we can support smaller venues, we can spread and share information. If we can homeschool our children. Support local farmers. It's healthier, it's cleaner. Get back to eating whole foods. If you can, try and go direct to consumer. And according to Revelation, yes, we are being led to a choice, right? It talks about the mark of the beast in Revelation 13:16.
In today's daily.
All right. Slocky, she got cut off right there. But yo, she's spitting, you know what I mean? Salt and peppers here. She's spitting. So people are waking up, you know, with all these things going on. People want to know what's happening. What does this all mean? How come something doesn't feel right? So the information's out there. Hopefully it could find the right people in the right time. You know what I'm saying? Most High willing. And people can repent, come back to the law, statutes, commandments written in the scriptures. Let's get Judith chapter 16 and verse 17. This is going to be the last story. You know how we like to go off, end the class on something healthy. Normally it's something healthy to eat, but now it's going to be something that you shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? So it's what, you know, it's all up to you, of course, but it's things that are healthy for us that, you know, we can incorporate into our life, and things that are the exact opposite that we just leave back with the old man and old woman, especially this next story. Okay, how Esau is attempting to destroy our women's, you know, biological system, the hormones, so forth and so on. But you know, we're gonna talk about what Judith said. Woe to them, destruction unto them that try to do this to our people. Wait, can you bring it out?
You said Judith?
Chapter 16, verse 17. Yeah, Judith, powerful sister. Just got finished celebrating Purim with Esther, and you know, our sisters, man, have an amazing part. Hold on, okay. Judith has an amazing, women have an amazing role to play in this thing of ours. You know what I'm saying? The daughters of Zion. All right. So don't be encouraged, sisters. We have some women that made some mighty moves that we still talk about to this day. Be a Judith, You know what I mean? Be a Esther, be a Deborah, a Deborah, okay? And less Cardi B's and Megan Thee Stallions. All right, go ahead, King, bring it out.
This is the book of Judith, chapter 16 and verse 17. Woe to the nations that rise up against my kindred. The Lord Almighty will take vengeance of them in the day of judgment, and putting fire and worms in their flesh, and they shall feel them and weep forever.
All right, that's hopefully that's aim at destruction. You know what I mean? The right spot. All praise to the Most High. Let Him, destroy these people, putting fire and worms in their flesh. Get them out of here. Okay, so let's look. Look what they're doing. You know what I mean? We heard about this. The study's been done, so there's no, oh, I didn't hear that, or I didn't know. You know what I mean? Because it's all out there. All right, so let's check this out. What they are doing to our sisters, Eve, and what can be passed down to the children.
Tracking closely potentially harmful chemicals making their way into braiding hair and extensions that are often marketed to Black women. By some estimates, over 70% of Black women use hair extensions or weaves at least once a year. Now, new data released this month is shining a light on the potential risks of these cosmetic products. I spoke with the researchers behind these two new studies. A style often deemed as protective for Black women is now under scrutiny as two new studies warn of health risks in hair extensions. On Tuesday, Consumer Reports revealing new findings that human, synthetic, and plant-based hair extensions from 30 brands have volatile organic compounds or heavy metals like lead.
Human hair by far had the most lead that we've ever seen in testing these products, orders of magnitude above synthetic hairs.
The study looked at 3 samples of each brand, and there were some exceptions. One product with no heavy metals, another with low heavy metals.
So that tells us that these manufacturers can make a safer product.
Nearly a year ago, we spoke with medical student Crystal Thomas, whose commentary on braiding hair led to Consumer Reports' first analysis.
I noticed my hair was itching and it was just difficult to breathe overall.
Now, research is expanding. The Silent Spring Institute, a scientific research nonprofit, testing 43 hair extension products.
We found chemicals in these products that are associated with cancer, reproductive harm, and also birth defects.
The hair containing 169 chemicals, including flame retardants and pesticides.
We found that all but 2 of the products that we looked at contained at least one of those hazard chemicals.
What substances most alarmed you and why?
The compounds that most alarmed me from this study were the organotin compounds. Those are compounds that are typically not found in consumer products. We know that they're associated with endocrine disruption in humans as well as cancer.
While both studies had small sample sizes, calls for more research and regulation are growing, with New York and New Jersey introducing legislation to regulate or ban synthetic braiding hair in 2025. The Safer Beauty Bill package also reintroduced in the House last year.
There needs to be more efforts to uncover some of the products and their risks.
For more on what these findings mean for your health, we're bringing in Dr. Uche Blackstock. She's a physician and the CEO of Advancing Health Equity. So good to have you. As we mentioned, small sample sizes, but still alarming findings, particularly arsenic and lead. What does it mean that some of these compounds are in these cosmetic products?
So what it means and what we know is that these compounds are linked to increased cancer risk. They're linked to hormone disruptions. They're linked to developmental issues with reproductive health. And so they have real concerns, but we know they're also in the hair, right? They're in synthetic hair, they're in human hair because it's processed, but we don't know what the long-term chronic exposure of wearing these synthetic hair or the braids has on people.
And it's often worn for months at a time. Viewers have seen me change it up often in the Black community, right? We call it protective styling. Protects your hair potentially from breaking, gives you a break from styling. And yet these risks How exactly, though, are the chemicals entering the body? Because someone might say, well, it's on my head.
Right.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, and so what's really important to know is the scalp is, we call it well vascularized. It has lots of blood vessels, and so it can absorb whatever you put on it, whatever cream, whatever product you put on it. And so the scalp can easily absorb the chemicals that are in these braids. Also, these braids emit off gas. Okay,
Especially
so these
when
chemicals
heat
are gas,
is applied,
especially when heated. So that's the other thing. Please do not apply heat to the synthetic hair, but they can cause pulmonary irritation, and you can inhale it through your nose and through your lungs.
I mean, I read that stat at the beginning. Black women, about 70% will have synthetic hair or a wig at least once a year. So what does this mean? Do we have to stop this style that has been in our culture for generations?
Right. So no, you don't have to stop. We're not saying, and the evidence doesn't say wearing it once is going to make a difference. We just don't know what the chronic exposure is. And so what you can do is ask your braider, where are you getting the hair from, right? What's the source of it? We also want to see transparency around ingredients, checking what the ingredients are on your on the hair bundles, right? If there's a hair that has a very strong chemical odor, you don't want to use it. Also, we talked about the heat, not applying heat to synthetic hair because that causes off-gassing, emitting more of these gases. And then you also want to get your hair done in a well-ventilated area.
And maybe leaning into the natural styles too.
Yes.
Right? As we're both sporting them, right? You have dreadlocks.
Yeah.
There was one chemical, organotin, that really struck me. It's actually illegal to use on ship exteriors. It is known to poison marine life. What are the concerns with that specifically?
Right, and that one causes immune and hormone suppression. So, excuse me, so that is an issue. Yeah.
Big takeaway, what would you say to someone at home who's still feeling a little...
Know what you're using, ask for what the brands are, ask for the sourcing, probably decrease the amount of time you're using it. Yeah.
Dr. Uche Blackstock, always great to have you. Thank you for the perspective.
And she said, it is illegal. The stuff they put in your hair, sisters, the stuff they put in your hair is illegal to go on the outside of a ship, but they put in your hair. You know what I'm saying? So Esau knows what he's doing. Esau at the top, checking things out like, oh, that goes in black women's hair. I would like to know whether, you know, the hair that so-called white women use, do they have the same issues with their hair, lead and arsenic and retardant that you can't put on the side of a ship because it kills the marine life, but you could put in hairs of so-called black women, right? So that's important. You know what I mean? So we got what, Elam, that they use their hair, send the hair over from India and probably Ishmael, if I'm not mistaken, that area of the world, and Moab sells it. You know what I'm saying? So as we can see, these are the heathen nations still doing what the heathen nations do. And I don't know if you've seen that Five Below, the mugs and the cups in Five Below have lead in them. And the ones that really have the lead, the most lead, I think the other ones were fine, if I'm not mistaken. But the ones that had the lead in it were the cups that were labeled for black girls, black girl magic. You know what I'm saying? Something that a little girl would get, you know what I'm saying? Or Eve, you know, black girl magic mugs, you know, have her coffee in the morning, you know, put the hot water in there, the hot coffee, and then the lead gets in there and they have it in their hair. Let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, man. These people got to go. You know, we're not ignorant of their devices. They got to go. You got caught. Make sure we each one teach one. You know what I mean? Tell your girlfriends, tell your mom, your aunts, your cousins. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go all natural because they try and kill us. Kill our children through the reproduction and hormone disruptors.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
See right through you. See right through you, Judas. See right through you, Esau. See right through you, Elam and Moab. You know what I mean? Get together, try to get us out of here. Man, it's gonna be hell to pay. You know, let's see what's gonna happen next week. May the Most High destroy you utterly. You know what I mean? Bring you down to your knees, vex you. All right, and we're gonna talk about it in that time period, if it be the Most High's will. Hopefully, this was edifying. Hopefully, you learned some things. If you give us a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You know what I mean? We greatly appreciate it. Kwom Yashala, we got next. Shalom.
Shalom.
Philly, Philadelphia, Philly, Philly, home of brotherly love. We see you, Philly. Come on. Yeah. Asha, represent for Philly. A strong shout out, brotherly love to my brothers from Philly. Greetings, it's your brothers from New York City. Home of the cream of the team of the baseball Phillies. We got Howard the Powers, favorite flowers, that's the lilies. We not smoking no Phillies, but enduring these curses. Philadelphia, one of the 7 holy churches. New York, see them. When we see the brothers, we greet them. Oh, the Rocky Steps. Philadelphia Museum, Rittenhouse Square, Liberty Bell, Roosevelt Mall, downtown Philly, neighboring near the City Hall, laying the cut, stay in the cut, straight off the edges. And now it's on the highways and byways and the hedges. Holding the fort, down with support, without the shackles. It's Philadelphia in New York, the rotten apple. Gathered with together brothers, we lock it down. In the city of brotherly love, what's the hometown? Philadelphia, the state that's known for the Philly cheesesteak stabby. Right across over the Franklin Bridge from New Jersey to Philly, we in. It's H-O-I-N-Y and H-O-I Philly. H-O-I Philly, H-O-I Philly, H-O-I Philly, and New York City. See your Howard shot up above. And H-O-I-N-Y-J in Philly, brotherly love. Shalom to my mighty brothers. Power to Israel. That's your brother. The Passover last year was in New York City. This year we celebrated in the home of Philly. Feeling the Philadelphia vibe, the tribes feeling it. Keeping the laws, statutes, commandments, and we living it. Remember the Passover coming out of Egypt. The house of bondage caught and brought into slave ships. Eat the unlimited bread, the lamb, the bitter herbs, the wine, the blood of Yahweh Shai. What is the word? Represent the ancestors, the captivity, the history, the chronology, and the prophecies. Rehearse the righteous acts. That be the dilly. It's H-O-I Philly and New York City. We in Philadelphia, the state that's known for the Philly cheesesteak stabby. Right across over the Franklin Bridge from New Jersey to Philly, we in. It's H-O-I-N-Y and H-O-I Philly. H-O-I Philly, H-O-I Philly, H-O-I Philly,